tell me a little bit about that, your journey, how you made it here.
Well, I would say the first thing that comes to me is speaking about, I come from a house where it's a very matriarch home. My mom was the powerful voice and breadwinner of the family. So one of the questions when we first were emailing, I was thinking about an obstacle that I had to overcome, and one of them would be that I don't have a relationship with my father. I never had a strong father figure or a positive one. And so I grew up in a home, I very connected to my grandfather, but I grew up in a home where my grandmother and my mom were these really strong, demonstrative, powerful women. And my mom's a PhD in psychology and has built a private practice for 40 years. And I just grew up watching my mom make it happen. She was worked full time. So my grandmother pretty much raised me, and I had a nanny, but she just I always knew she was there for me. And especially once I got a little older and I got past my mommy doesn't pick me up from school every day kind of a place, where actually I was okay with that, and I'd rather, carpool with the seniors, I really, from an early age, saw a woman creating results in her life. You know what I mean? She just always was active, in shape, there for me, but working. And I remember kind of bragging about her to my friends, because some of my friends, even though they, I'm not to obviously down women who choose to not work, but it was just what my mom had to do, because she was, my father didn't create any income for us.
Where was your father?
He was there, but I grew up with a father who had a mental illness, and he was unable to keep income, and was abusive, and my mom pretty much held out until I was 18, so that there was no custody issues. And so we really were a very close family as a result of that, and she really did everything she could to shield me from his harm, and she did. I mean, I had a wonderful childhood.
So you're saying he lived with you in the house?
He did.
Till you were 18?
He did. There were a few times where he was gone, but I mean, they didn't get divorced until I was 18. And that is my biggest obstacle, was that I didn't have a strong male figure. But I had this powerful mother and a grandmother who were positive and really taught me to go after my dreams and to stand up for myself and to always provide for myself. And I really think, of course, that came from the fact that my mom had to do it all.
Yes.
She didn't have a partner helping her other than my grandparents.
Yes.
So it's like turning something that was not always, there were some really difficult moments and huge fights and, moments where I thought that I had inherited some of his mental illness. It was some dark times,
When did that happen to you? What age were you?
Between, I would say, 13, 14, 15 was a really tough age for me. Discovering, as a girl growing into a woman, really seeing that needing attention from a man and how that played into, and my mom just always drilling into me you are your own woman. No one can give you or take away from you who you are at your core. And she was always just as hard as she was on me, she would always say things like, you're confident, you are smart, you're intelligent, you are giving, you're kind. No man can take these things from you or give you those things. Those are who you are. And no matter what your father says or doesn't say or does or doesn't do, this is who you are. And she still says those things, her advice is always to anchor back into who you are. And so I just had this mom who was just really always thinking she was a powerful and a creator, and kind of hard on me, but very positive. And so there was always an element of, expect try your best, go for broke. That was one thing she always said to me, go for broke. You know, because then, you know, if you've studied your hardest on your science, your biology exam, and you really put in the hours, and you can go to bed at night and think to yourself, did I really try my best? And only you can answer that. And if the answer is yes and you still get a C or you fail, it doesn't matter because you've tried your best.
Absolutely.
So that was the philosophy, and I think that has translated into being in a field that is not linear. So the amount of hard work or time you've put into it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be successful.
Yeah, you're not getting a PhD, taking these courses, getting the degree, getting a job, and getting clients right away, working for somebody.
Right.